I can't believe it, but I am now 34 years old. And I bet there's a lot of you watching this video right now who are much younger than me and you want to know how to become a millionaire by the time that you're my age. And I know that for anyone who's under 20 years old, you may think that being 30 seems really old. But the truth is, 30 is gonna come a lot faster than you think. And if you don't start working on your finances now, you might miss your shot. When I was in my 20s, my goal in life was to be a millionaire and be financially free by the time I was 30. And I knew that if I wanted to hit that goal, then I'd have to do something differently than everyone else. So by researching and reading a lot of books, I learned that there are a few key things that differentiate millionaires from everyone else. And by focusing and applying those differences, I was able to become a millionaire and leave my full-time job as an engineer by the time I was 29 years old. And since that time, by continuing to apply those same lessons, I've been able to continuously grow my net worth several times over. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Sean and I make real estate easy. My wife and I own several rental properties across the country that allow us to become financially free and travel the world without needing a full-time job. And so I make YouTube videos to help people like you get to where we are too. And in today's video, I'm going to be sharing the lessons that actually helped me become a millionaire by the time I was 30 years old. Now, the best part about these lessons is that they apply no matter how old you are. You just have to be willing to start implementing them today. And starting with lesson 1, you need to be good at saving. Now, the very first time I truly made money was when I was getting my allowance as a kid. My mom had a very simple allowance system where she just gave me $1 per day. And the way we kept track of that was by using one of those old desk calendars where you tear off a page for every single day. So every page was $1 that I would then redeem with my mom. So if I wanted to buy something like a toy at the store, I'd have to check the price and calculate what the whole thing was after taxes. Then go home and tear off that many pages from those calendars I had stored and give them to her in exchange. Then we would go back and mom would buy the thing for me. So when I wanted to buy my new PS2, I had to tear out 450 of those pages, which is basically a whole calendar year and a half that I saved just for this one purchase. But by giving me this steady allowance, I learned that if I really wanted something, I needed to save for a long time. And I couldn't just buy random garbage. So by giving me the steady allowance, my mom instilled in me the sense that I need to save and that I should only buy things that I really want. The thing is, you're not going to become a millionaire just from saving. Which brings us to lesson 2, which is to spend your time wisely. My first job was selling shoes at Timberland at the local mall. They paid me $9 an hour, which was actually pretty good at the time and was actually more than minimum wage. And I really liked working there. And it was the first time I started making some decent money. My coworkers and friends there were all super chill. And it was the first time that they started making some decent money too. But after they got paid, I saw them waste that paycheck on the stupidest things. And anytime they wanted me to buy something with them, it really got me thinking. Like, did I really want to give up 2 weekends worth of work just to buy this thing? So for example, people were super into Jordans back then, and I was never really a sneakerhead. But if I was going to buy a pair of Jordans for $200, then that would be over 26 hours of work after taxes, which means that to buy these shoes that I didn't really care about, I would have to have worked for over 1.5 weekends. And if I didn't care about these shoes and rocking the latest sneakers, then did I really want to waste those hard-earned dollars that I sacrificed my precious high school weekends for when I could have been playing World of Warcraft instead? Not really. So I saved the money instead. But because I didn't spend on those fancy shoes or clothes I didn't care about, I was able to save and afford a very nice trip to New York by myself right when I turned 18 years old. Now that trip was amazing to me because I, as a new adult, was able to explore a big city by myself. Now experiences like those are priceless, and it made me really thankful that I valued my time above looking cool and buying things that didn't truly make me happy. So remember, time is the most valuable currency, and if you could think of your purchases as how much time you spent to get it, then you might not spend so easily. Now, another thing to think about is that with time, nothing stays the same forever. And at some point, the job that you might feel super secure about may not be there for you anymore. Which leads me to lesson number 3 of becoming a millionaire, is that you are replaceable. Now, flash forward a few years later. When I was in college, I got a full-time internship making satellites for the government. And in the beginning, I was really excited to work there. I was making good money, I had a 401k, and I was charting out my career path to see how fast I could become a manager in the company. But after working there for a few months and talking to some of my coworkers who are my dad's age, I realized that working full-time really won't let you hit your financial goals. And you're not going to feel satisfied because you're always going to be working under someone else. Your salary is also going to be capped based on their HR regulations. So even if you do an amazing job, you may not be compensating for doing a great job. In fact, if you do too well, they might just give you more work without paying you anymore. And I saw that they can let you go at any time. So even if you've been super loyal to the company for many years, if times change and they need to cut you, then they will cut you, even if you're just 2 years away from retirement and your retirement bonuses. So based on my experiences and what I heard from my coworkers, I realized that I shouldn't rely on my W-2 income alone if I want to become financially free. I'd take things into my own hands. Because even though the job paid pretty well, and it was enough for me to live off of as a single guy, the job didn't really pay that much for my coworkers who had to support their entire family. Most couples had both of them working just to support their whole family. And I'd often find my coworkers browsing for homes on Zillow and daydreaming about buying a home within 30 minutes of work. But since they weren't getting paid enough from their job, they knew that this was just a pipe dream and it wasn't possible. And I realized that if I just stayed the path and continue working for the next 30 years, then I'd end up just like them, unsatisfied and stuck daydreaming about a life that they couldn't have. So I couldn't imagine living a life like that forever. So I learned that if I wanted to become financially free, I need to stop depending on someone else and take control of my own future. I need to create my own source of income so that even if I get let go from my job, it wouldn't affect me too much. So that brings me to lesson number 4. You have to learn how to make money without trading your time. Now, up until this point, I thought that the only way to make money was from a job. But in my early 20s, I read a lot of books like Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I started following various financial blogs and realized that the wealthy don't make money from their jobs alone. They created businesses and they learn how to make money without trading their time. Now, when you work at a job, you only get paid for the amount of hours that you work. And if you don't show up, then you don't get paid. But if you can learn how to separate the amount of money you make from your time, then technically there's no limit to the amount of money you can make. And you can even make $1 million in a single month if you have the right business. So in the beginning, I tried small things like selling products on FBA, where I bought selfie sticks in bulk from China and then sold them on Amazon. And after a couple of months of doing that, a few hiccups, I did manage to make a couple $100s, but it wasn't a huge success and I shut it down a few months later. But it showed me that making money outside my job was definitely possible. So the sooner that you guys can learn how to make money outside your full-time job, the better you're gonna be. Now, hear me out. There's gonna be a lot of people out there who are gonna tell you to quit your job ASAP to focus on your business full-time. But in reality, I take a more conservative approach. I think that you should probably start by getting a full-time job that pays well and then create a side hustle to start earning money outside your full-time job. Now, of course, if your side hustle does get big enough, then it become your main hustle and you can quit your full-time job. And I learned that if you can create businesses, then you're gonna be good to go. So the way that I made my money outside my full-time job is by buying cash flow rental properties that pay for themselves. Nowadays, I still make money from my rental properties, even though I put very little work into them every single month. So I basically make money while I sleep. And I even make money with my social media business, where I don't get paid necessarily based on how much time I work, but I get paid on the results. So if you can find a way to separate the money that you make from your time, then you're well on your way to becoming a millionaire, because everyone has the same 24 hours a day, but if you can make money independently of that, then there's no limit on how much money you can make. But starting a business isn't always guaranteed to succeed. And becoming a millionaire means that you have to do things outside of your comfort zone, which leads me to the next lesson, which is that you need to take smart risks. Now, there's no way you can become a true millionaire in a short time frame if you don't take risks. But the thing is, you want to be smart with your risk. So for me, I was buying rental properties, but there was one big problem. After a certain point, I couldn't keep buying more rental properties because each home needs around $30,000 for a down payment. And since it took me such a long time to save for that first down payment, I knew that if I want to buy more rental properties, I needed another source of income. And by joining a lot of real estate investing groups, I found out that most of the successful investors in the Bay Area were flippers. And when they flip homes, they're basically making around $100,000 for each deal. And after attending several meetup groups for months, I finally got a deal near LinkedIn headquarters. At the time, a few investors already passed on the deal. I still went for it because I knew the area really well and I believed in its potential. And after a few months of renovating the property, I finally managed to sell it for $100,000 over what I was expecting it to. And my partner and I managed to net around $300,000 from that one deal alone. Now, obviously, I got super lucky on that flip and it's been my largest deal to date. But I wouldn't be able to do any of that if I didn't take those smart risks. So the point of the story is that if you want to be a millionaire, you need to be able to take these risks. And if you're just starting out, and you don't have much, then you also don't have that much to lose either. So I'm not telling you to be dumb and take out 10 credit cards and max them out loud to do your first deal. But if you don't have much, you should be putting yourself out there, looking for more opportunities and being okay with failing. Now, as long as you keep trying and you keep reiterating what you're learning every time you fail, you're gonna eventually find success in any venture that you do. Again, your path is gonna be different from mine. So don't think that to be successful, you have to invest in real estate. But to be a financially free millionaire, you must be able to take a chance on yourself. Now, all that being said, the driving factor that truly helped me cross the $1 million mark was the next lesson, and that's to have a long-term mindset. Now, I mentioned that flipping houses is cool and all, and that I was able to make good money from it, but after all said and done, flipping houses is risky. And when you buy and sell houses within a short 1-year time span, you also have to pay more in taxes. And the worst thing I hate about flipping houses is that once you sell a great deal, it's gone forever. So for example, that amazing deal I mentioned where I made $300,000 was sold for $1.4 million in 2017. But if I just kept that home until today, it'd be worth over $2 million and I'd have an extra $700,000 in net worth. Now on top of that, I would have saved a ton of money on my taxes. So right now, our investing philosophy is to keep as many properties as we can, and we rarely sell. When we moved from Texas to the Bay Area, we converted our primary home into a rental property just so we can keep it. Now, this mentality of holding on to things doesn't just apply to real estate. We've also held on to most of our stocks. I almost never sell any of my stocks unless I absolutely have to, like to buy another deal. So now that we've been investing for a while, the portfolio grows more than we contribute to it. So even though we've been traveling the world for most of this year and we've made significantly less income, our net worth has continued to grow because of our investments. So this is where you want to end up, at a place where you don't even need to worry about making money from your job or your business, and you can just rely on the income and the net worth growth that comes from your investments. But you only get this from having a long-term mindset and investing in long-term assets. So as you're going through your journey, make sure that you save, you take smart risks, you find ways to disconnect the amount that you earn from your time, and you start investing as soon as possible and let the long-term assets grow your net worth for you. And that last point of focusing on long-term assets that grow money for us is really what differentiates my wife and me from our other content creator and business owner friends. Now, a lot of them are doing very, very well, and they're making a lot more income than we are, but we still have a higher net worth than they do. And our net worth grows faster because we actually have assets that we invest in. Whereas our other friends take that large income they're making and they spend it on something else, or maybe they spend it on growing their own business or hiring a bigger team. But the problem with doing that is that their money still doesn't grow unless they work. So again, these are the main lessons that I've learned and applied to my life that made me become a millionaire in my 20s. And if you guys want to become a millionaire by that time too, then you need to start implementing them yourself. And if you guys enjoy this video and you want to learn more, you definitely need to check out this video where I teach you exactly how to make your first $1 million. Thanks for watching, you guys. I appreciate you. You got this, and I'll see you next time. Take care.